Good afternoon. Hopefully, everybody is having a wonderful day. I am tax attorney Nehemiah Jefferson, and I am joined by my colleague, attorney Jamila Little. And we are here today to revisit a topic that we actually talked about on last week. We want to try to answer the question: can social media hurt your legal case? Hello, Jamila. How are you today? Or Attorney
Definitely
Little, should I say?
doing
How are you
well.
today?
I'm doing well. Glad to have made it to this Thursday afternoon, and we missed last week. So happy to be able to revisit the conversation that we were having the week before. I think there was some issues um, with the live and with the actual post. So we're gonna do it again. I'm going to give Attorney Jefferson a couple seconds. I think he's frozen. I don't hear anything. But we'll give him a couple seconds to get back.
All right.
And I'll go ahead and just introduce the topic. So today we are going to be discussing again, can social media hurt your case? And I know Attorney Jefferson had some specific examples or maybe a case that he was dealing with when this actually became very, very relevant. So, of course, we know the answer is yes. Social media can certainly hurt your case. I can say this though, it can hurt your case, but it can actually help your case as well. So we could kind of talk about both sides of the coin and see how it could actually hurt or help your case. So one of the things that I had mentioned when we first spoke about this was the areas that I kind of see this in my areas of practice, including immigration and some personal injury cases. Let's take personal injury for an example. When there are situations where this person has been hurt through the negligence of someone else, if that's something that you are claiming, yet there's social media posts out there with you in situations that a hurt person would not find themselves in, then that's obviously something that's going to be hurtful for your case. Attorney Jefferson, I think I see you back now.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, there you are. So I was just giving a couple of examples of how I see this kind of play out in my world. And I was just talking a little bit about the personal injury side. So why don't you jump in and tell us how you actually see social media being harmful to cases that you have with some of your clients?
Well, what immediately comes to mind is a case involving injunctions. So sometimes it's very difficult to say that you're not doing something when there's blatant or obvious evidence in the form of social media. So if you are under some type of legal injunction, that is, you are you have been told by the courts not to do certain things, then you need to make sure certainly that number one, you are not doing those things, and then number two, that those things are not broadcast on social media. So that's first and foremost. But I see one of the things that I do see as it relates to tax matters is it's very disturbing to see people boasting on social media about how much money they make per day or how much money they make per year. That's problematic when
Why is
you
that
are
problematic?
not necessarily disclosing certain things and that information that may be easily found out by the government. And so I guess I just want to encourage people to be mindful of the electronic footprint that they are creating when things are posted to social media.
Gotcha. So you're essentially talking about maybe people who are not reporting as they should in terms of their taxes, but here they are saying, yeah, this is actually what I make, right?
And yes, and then and then there's obvious evidence of the amount of money that they make in the form of various assets that maybe have been attained through the income that they have made, but not necessarily showing up on their tax return.
Right.
So, for example, if you're on social media and you got cars and these cars are registered, and so obviously the government knows you will have attained that asset
Right.
by paying for it in one or two ways. Either you pay for it cash or you got it financed, and either way, both of those transactions are easily traceable. So there are ways in which the government uses to, or the IRS uses to sort of recreate your income, if I can say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we should just be mindful of, I guess the overall message is just be mindful of what we are doing on social media. I think that's what we want to communicate today. And certainly I haven't seen, well, should I say, most of the times I've seen situations in where it can be very, very problematic. When you look at discovery, when you are dealing with the case, and as one of the files is a social media file with all of this information, it can be very, very problematic to try to defend against some of the things that have been attained by the government, or
Right.
when it comes to discovery.
Right. So I want to flip the coin and talk a little bit about maybe how social media could be helpful to your case. And I would just say, from a broad perspective, anything that is on social media. Well, let me put this disclaimer out first. I would say stay away from social media. Just stay away
Mhm.
from it if you know that you have a pending case that you're going through. Just stay away from social media. But I do want to talk a little bit about the flip side of that, and how social media could possibly help bolster your case, right? And to the extent that you have things posted on social media, either at the point in time that are contemporaneous with your case, or maybe before, that align with the facts of your case, then they could be helpful. And my thoughts immediately go to something I'd mentioned in our last live as well, where there may be an immigration case and it's maybe a family petition. You're petitioning for your spouse, and people post stuff on social media, right? So you have things on Facebook that show you and your spouse and maybe your kids just together. Then that would be helpful. I think also, for me, part of the evidence package that my office actually puts together for these types of cases could sometimes involve conversations on maybe Facebook Messenger or some other platform where people communicate with each other. So in that instance, I can see social media being helpful. But I would say, just as a blanket suggestion, that you just kind of stay away from social media when you're in a case, in the process of a case. So I think
Absolutely.
oh, there you are.
I'm back again.
I guess
Okay.
I
I
thought
have
we
a
lost you.
solution. I have a solution for our next live. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. So any additional remarks, any closing comments?
Well, since we do these topics every Thursday, or we try to do them every week, certainly want to answer any questions that people may have. If we can try to answer your legal questions, we certainly want to do so. Or if you have topics that you want to talk about, or you want us to talk about or discuss, we invite you to just send us a message. You can contact us on our website. So on the bottom of our screen, americastaxattorney.com or littlelawpa.com. We welcome any comments that you have, any questions that you have, and just look forward to us talking about different subjects in the future.
Absolutely. send us a request if you have some topics or some questions that you would like to hear our point of view on. So thank you everyone who joined in or who will take a look at this. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you in the next one.